Hi, today we're talking about financial records, which is probably one of the things I go on about so much, and I'm sorry for this, but it is a really, really important point. They're very, very important for a successful sale. And I think for a lot of people, that makes them nervous. If it is that you've been running your own business for 30 years, you have your own way of keeping records and everything like that, that's great, that's fine. You know, it works for you. But the concern when people come to sell is often that, oh my God, do I have to have these beautiful management accounts? Or do I have to have everything on a computer system so we can run reports about everything from occupancy to registrations and all sorts of things like that? I mean, yeah, in an ideal world, that would be amazing, but we don't live in an ideal world. And you have to run your business how you need to. But that's not to say that there's not certain things you have to provide as part of a sale, and things that would actually make your life, your sale, easier and make actually achieving your best sale price easier. Often when I talk to people about management accounts and stuff like that, it's just like, oh no, I don't do that, but I do have this spreadsheet. And actually, often that does work. You know, I think the key thing is knowing quite early on how you record income. When I work with people who are a few years away from sale, if they're not kind of having a monthly, this is what came in, this is what went out, this is what I've got left, even just the basic breakdown, then that's one of the first things I suggest they put in place. Because firstly, it actually makes their day-to-day running easier. We've all had the months where you kind of go, as long as I get to the end of the month and there's still money in the bank account, then actually I will consider this month a success. But when you're looking at numbers, they can tell you so much more than just the numbers. They can tell you kind of what operationally is working, what isn't working, where you're losing money, where you're actually performing against other settings. And it will give you such a better idea about your business. And actually, the setup is minimal. And then the amount of time you need to put into it is minimal, but it feels like it's a massive undertaking. Like you need this huge spreadsheet with loads of formulas on it that kind of picks up information from other places. And yeah, if you like that, if you're a bit of a geek like me, then do it. It's a lot of fun. But actually, if that's the sort of thing that you don't enjoy at all, then a very, very, very basic breakdown is all you need. It will give you an idea. And it means that when you get your accounts finally from the accountant 6 months after year end, what you see there shouldn't be a surprise to you. So when we talk about financial records, obviously we talk about accounts, and accounts are always expected. This means even if you're a sole trader and you're not legally required to provide accounts, you should still be creating them for your business. Because when you come to sell, that's what your buyer's going to expect to see. That's what their bank is going to expect to see. And even though it's all very well saying, well, I've never had to do them, so I don't. Actually, your buyers will be kind of put off by that. They're going to want to see a more formal breakdown of your numbers provided by a third party like an accountant. But also, you know, there's numbers you can be providing in-house to make sure that, you know, the numbers stack up. And again, this isn't I must keep rigid management accounts on a monthly basis to make sure that I can tell you where every single penny has gone. Find a way to make it work for you. So it might be just that actually you're talking about the key figures. What's coming in? What am I spending on staffing? What am I spending on consumables? If I just assume that I'm paying the same amount of electricity every month, what does that look like? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so this month, this is probably what I've made. That's fine. That's not a problem. We can work with that. I think the key thing is don't hide from it, because your buyer is going to want it. And actually, often when you sort of say, well, I just don't do that, or I can't provide that, your buyer, while probably perfectly understanding, isn't then going to be able to push that through to a finance or get a bank on board with it, because they expect things to be presented in a certain way, or at least to have the information in which they can then put it together themselves to present it in a certain way. It will affect your sale if you can't provide this information. But it doesn't mean that you have to be falling into perfect line and making sure it's provided in a certain way. As long as there's a way it can be presented, as long as the way as me as a broker can explain it, as long as the way the buyer can understand it and the buyer's bank can understand it, that's fine, but it does still need to be presented. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. It doesn't need to be a massive part of your life. It's once it's all set up, it shouldn't be more than an hour a month to kind of get things in place. But actually, it will make such a difference to your day-to-day running and will make your sale so much easier. I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, please do get in touch, and I'll speak to you again soon.